and just start a This is Suzanne's mic check. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. We'll ask and they're going to turn off the AC because I know it's really loud.
And really cold. Yeah, he could be. You do have Shannon on the thing, right? Yes. Okay, mic check, A, B, C, D. Yes. Can I tell you a funny story? I always wanted to be Stephanie. My Barbie dolls was always Stephanie when I was a kid, so you've renamed me. I love it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, mic check, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You got
Thank you. This is Suzanne's mic check. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going live in 5 minutes and 33 seconds. These are all Drew, Karen.
Lauren.
They're just some ladies that signed up on our for our mailing list, which
Right.
we met them earlier.
My
You know
friends,
Lauren.
yeah.
So Lauren Berger is. Do you know Lauren?
You look very familiar, but not a
ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton. This is what your friends won't tell you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Susie Ann Boyd.
And I'm Shannon Thompson-Jones.
And this is What Your Friends Won't Tell You. And we are live from ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton today. And it's our first on-location show, which is amazing. Shannon's already crying. All right, people, get the tissues.
My mother's here. My
mother's here. I know. Hi, Mom. All right, so let's...
And my niece is
and
here.
the niece is here. Let's show the studio audience. Can we show them? Yeah, so, okay, so this is our live studio audience. We have some of our friends, some of our family, some of our people that are just fans of the show that have come to watch us today here at ACP Home Interiors. And just a huge shout out to Stephanie and Burton Molyneux from ACP Home Interiors for welcoming us into their gorgeous, gorgeous store. We're going to tell you a little bit more about this place in just a bit. But first, we want to talk about our topic. And it's a struggle. Yeah.
It's getting dark now.
So, so I think this really came up for both Shannon and I recently because, you know, we both have been struggling. I think a lot of people struggle. I think it's this time of year.
Yes.
For me, it's been anxiety and overwhelm. You know, you're trying to do too much and sadness. There's a lot of like grief and stuff that comes up for me, like loneliness around the holidays. And this really hit me hard right before Thanksgiving. You know, my mom was in town with her husband, so I had family in town. I had the kids. I had my boyfriend's kids. Right. I had Thanksgiving at my house, so I felt like I was just doing so much.
Such a bad idea.
Yeah, and it's like, going into it, you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. No. It's going to be magical and amazing and wonderful.
I've never said that.
No, I always say that.
I've never said that.
I always
don't do it.
say that, and then it turns, I'm literally sucking my thumb in my bed with not wanting to come out of my covers, you know?
Yes.
So what is that all about? Do we have to go through this every year?
I think we have to go through struggle, and I got to be honest, I don't like it. I'm not a fan, and I have spent many years of my life going, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Why? I don't think we should have to struggle. And at 47 this month, I'm realizing, it's actually a thing.
Yeah.
We have to do it. It's part of life. Grieving, loss, change is part of life. There's no getting around it. And this time of year highlights that, right? If you've had a loss, if you're going through a divorce, if you're feeling lonely, if you're having struggles with your children, right? Then you feel a greater loss because it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Right.
But it's really, really difficult time of the year if you're going through, you know, the stress and the overwhelm and the grief and loss. So.
Yeah. And you actually wanted to talk about because I will tell you that when I was in my bed before Thanksgiving, feeling awful and feeling really, almost like a depression, like I did not want to get out of bed because I was so upset and anxious and overwhelmed. The one thing that really saved me was sort of this concept of letting go and just kind of handing it over to whatever you believe in. For me, it's, I just said a little prayer and just said, please, I just don't want to feel this way. I'm just going to give it all to you. Yeah. And I'm going to let go of all of this and just realize that not everything has to be perfect. Right. And not everything has to be the way that I think it's got to be, you know?
Well, and when we were talking about this show, I got really curious about what are the principles that govern people. And so I was researching Buddhism. And one of the four noble principles of Buddhism, one of them, the first one is you're going to have struggle. Yeah. Struggle is a part of life. There's change in life always. It's always changing. That's the only guarantee. There's going to be loss. There's going to be struggle. The second tenet being, if you cling and don't want struggle and don't want change, those attachments are going to be really, really painful. Yeah. If you are hanging on to things staying the same, you are in big trouble, right? And then they go on to say, once you recognize this is just how it is, face it, deal with it, don't be paralyzed by it, then new things come, right? Because with change and grief and loss, there's bad things, but then that opens for new things. So I thought, wow, that's an amazing principle.
Right. And you learn so much in those times of struggle. I mean, when you look back and you say, okay, I need to do things differently. You know, I can't keep doing this every single year. You know, during those struggle times is when you really realize that, hey, I've got to make a change in my life.
I call those growth opportunities, and sometimes I put other words in front of that.
Are they curse words?
Yes, they are. But yes, the growth opportunities, that's where the growth is. You know, when you look at Christianity, a lot of people believe that in Christianity that things are happening exactly as they're supposed to. God has a plan, that everything is happening for the greater good. All the bad stuff is going to pan out in the end, and it's all for the good. So that's kind of another way of looking at it. Right. I come from a family of 12-step individuals. A lot of my family members have recovery, and the 12-step philosophy is, the first step is I am powerless over alcohol, drugs, shopping, gambling, whatever it is, food. I don't know anything about that. And can I turn it over to a power, you know, can I admit that I'm powerless? And then can I turn it over to a source greater than myself? And they don't make you decide that it has to be God or Buddha or anything, but you know, sometimes in 12 step they'll say, put an apple on your dashboard. I don't care who you turn it over to, but you've got to turn it over to something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I grew up in a very, very, very small town in North Florida, and you know, it's the Bible Belt. And so we went to church every Sunday. I went to a Christian school. You know, I went to church camp. You know, I was in the youth group. Like, I did all that. And I got to college, and I never felt a connection. I never felt a connection. When I would go to church, I felt like it was just a ritual. Like it wasn't, I never felt that connection. And I went to college and I said, I'm not doing this church thing anymore. You know, I just was like, I'm over it, you know? And so it was when I was going through my divorce that I really got back to, you know, the whole spiritual side of me, because I felt like I've got to find something else that I can turn to, you know, rather than wine.
That's a faith as well.
That's right. I've got to find something else that can kind of help me through this. And that's really where I got into yoga and back into my spiritual practice. You know, and I don't know if I believe so much, I don't want to say I believe in organized religion. It's not really about going to church for me. It's more about my rituals that I do in the morning. It's more about, you know, when I wake up, you know, I read from my books and I write in my journal, and those are the things that really kind of helped me through these struggles.
There are a lot of books by your bedside table, so this is why it's been hard to get out of the house.
I know.
But no, that's exactly
self-help. You need a self-help book.
Yes,
I got it.
She's got it. I'm just wondering how long this ritual takes in the morning, but that's a whole nother show.
It's a long time.
But absolutely, that's really, I think, what the show's about today is like, what is your belief? What is your spirituality? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Find something that you can anchor in, that you can believe in, that will get you through these struggles, because as the Buddhists say, they're not going anywhere. These struggles are not going anywhere. And I know for me, you know, my journey recently, this empty nesting thing, I mean, this was supposed to be a great, like, yeah, they're going to go and leave.
Yeah, I got all this time on my hands. I have to make
so
dinner
great.
every night.
You work out, it's great. I'm like, no, you could shoot a cannon off in my home. It's the loneliest place in America. There's no laughter in the halls. I'm putting rap music in the bathroom just to feel like someone's showering.
That's something I won't be doing.
Right? No, you're going to miss it.
Really?
The country song says, you're going to miss this. You're going to miss this. So it's crazy, you know, and then of course at holiday time, it's even worse, it's even quieter. So definitely I can relate to, you know, all of what you're saying at this time of year. It makes it really rough.
Yeah. All right, so, you know, what I love about Shannon is her tools. I mean, she is amazing in that she has very simple, they're not easy tools, but they're simple tools that if you take her advice and if you take some of these actions, that it will really help you in these times of struggle. So we're going to have Shannon's Toolbox coming up next on What Your Friends Won't Tell You, and we are live from ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton with a studio audience for What Your Friends Won't Tell You this afternoon. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Today's episode of What Your Friends Won't Tell You is brought to you by ACP Home Interiors, with locations here in Boca Raton, where we are live today. But they also have locations in Delray Beach, Highlands, North Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia. This is a family-owned furniture and gift store. They have been in business since 1983. And you know what I love about this store is you walk in and it feels like home. I mean, look at just some of this. In fact, Shannon goes, my next home is going to be furnished with all of this furniture. And I'm like, yes, my house is already furnished with all of this furniture. It is amazing. And you know, the other thing I love about ACP Home Interiors is obviously it's not cheap furniture. You're gonna, you know, it's not cheap, but it's very reasonably priced for this kind of furniture.
The quality.
Yeah, for the quality that they have here. And they have amazing gifts. They have these candles that you walk in and it smells delicious. So please come check out ACP Home Interiors this holiday season, and don't forget to shop local. Welcome back to What Your Friends Won't Tell You. Suzanne and Shannon here, and we are now talking about Shannon's toolbox. Yes. I just want to remind you again that we're live from ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton today with a live studio audience. You guys can talk.
Yes.
Yes! Oh yes! We needed like the cards. Like in a real talk show, they have cards.
Applause.
Like clap now. Yeah. Laugh. So thank you all for being here, our friends, our family, our coworkers, some of our fans of the show. So thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. All right, so Shannon, fix us.
So I always come hot off the top with something that's not pretty. So
Yeah.
Here we go. So the first one, lean into the discomfort. I know it's awful.
Ugh.
But
What does that mean, though?
right,
How do you do
right.
that?
So yeah.
Are you crying?
Let me tell you how not to do it.
Okay.
Do not open your bottle of wine.
Oh,
Do not lean into a Chardonnay, okay? Do not lean into your apple pie. Right. Do not lean, I looked at my husband. Do not lean into your shopping, Mom. Do not lean into gambling. All of that stuff that is all forms of medicating. These are ways that we medicate ourselves. And when you medicate yourself, yes, it feels better for a moment.
Short time.
But then you're just stuffing the pain.
Then you got that headache.
Yeah,
Right.
the hangover, whatever it is,
Right.
but you're just stuffing the pain down. There is a process to this, and that's, again, back to those Buddhist principles that if you lean into the pain, if you face it, yes, it's awful. We've spent much of December crying, you and I,
Yes.
right? But then, first of all, crying is really good for your skin. So that's,
There's
so
that.
voila, right? But it is a cleansing,
Yeah.
and it does promote healing, right? And please lean into the discomfort with support. That's one of the great things that you and I share. But doing that painful work, crying, being angry, screaming in your car, taking your plastic child's baseball bat to the bed pillow to get the anger out.
Okay.
Tearing up
That's
the phone.
okay.
That's great because
Okay.
you want to get it out, right?
Right.
Screaming in your car with the radio loud while you're driving. No one will even know, right?
Right.
But getting all that pain out of you, it's awful to keep it inside of you. And
Yeah,
it
it's
also
cathartic to let it out.
it's cathartic, and
Yeah.
if you keep it in, you're going to get sick. Like there's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it basically says that. Like if you want to hold it in, you can, but that's cancer, that's sickness, that's illness. So get it out. So lean into that discomfort, feel the pain, let yourself ride the waves. That's the first tool. And then the second one that we talked about in the beginning, I don't know how I would be surviving right now if I didn't have a solid value system about what I do believe.
Yeah.
What do I believe? Do I believe that everything happens for a reason? Do I believe that there's painful times, but if I walk through them, I'm going to be blessed on the other side, that there's good things coming, that nothing's permanent, everything's temporary? Figure out what you believe, right? When I've been having health struggles the past couple of years, every day it's been, I'm going to get better. This is a season. This is not forever, right? So those are my belief systems. So if you don't have any, please figure out what they are. Do your reading. Suzanne has a library.
If you need a book, I have it for you.
She's got it. But do your reading, do your, check into
journaling,
your podcast, your journaling. Figure out what you believe, because that's what's going to save you when you're facing the greatest struggles of your life. And the last tool is, I definitely wouldn't be able to handle the difficulties of life, and I know you wouldn't either, without our village, right? Our resources. Tap into your resources. Who are your safe people? Who are the people that hold you when you cry? Who are the people that you reach out to when you're struggling? You have to have a village. Again, if you don't have one, start building one.
You know, it's so funny because
we planned this.
She's sitting right here, and she's sitting right here. So, like, right before Thanksgiving, when I was just like, ugh, you know, I was having such a hard time. And I have a hard time reaching out to people, you know, which is so crazy because I'm like an open book, and I'm always talking to people. But I don't know, I feel like when I'm in that moment, like, it's so hard for me to reach out to people because I feel like they've got enough on their plate. They don't need. So I remember Tina called me, you know, a few days before Thanksgiving, or maybe it was the day before Thanksgiving, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No!" So it's so important, and you forget, you know, why don't we reach out to our girlfriends or to, you know, our parents or whoever that make us always feel better?
Two concepts. One, you just said, so many of us feel we are a burden. We feel that we are a burden when we reach out. And then when I was researching back when I did the thing on loneliness, what they said that blew my mind is that when you are lonely and in loneliness, you believe that nobody wants to, you know, be with you. Like, I'm so awful right now, who would want to be with me? So I'm no good to be around, and I'm a burden to you.
Or I have nothing to complain about. I mean, I have a beautiful family, people are healthy, I have food on the table, you know, I was able to leave my job and do the thing that I'm passionate about. Like, it's so funny when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, isn't your life amazing now?" And so I feel bad when I say that I have these other struggles that are really difficult, and I feel like I'm not being grateful for what I do have. You know.
Oh, you were raised with that too. I bought into that too. I'm just grateful. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. You're gonna give me $5. I'm grateful.
Right.
Yeah. So I was raised with that too. That concept. I inherited that somewhere. I don't know, but I do that too.
Yeah.
But, you know, interestingly, when I was studying to be in psychology, I did the Lifeline at the suicide hotline. And what they helped us understand is somebody might call you and their entire family died in a plane crash, and that's what they're upset about, understandably. And then you might get a call from the woman whose cat passed away, and she's suicidal, and it is real for her. If you talk to her, you realize the cat is the only safe person or thing in her world, and that is very real for her, and there's no one else. The cat was it, and that person could suicide just as easily. So that really helped me to be a little gentler with myself. We all struggle, and when it's yours, and your pain is real, and you have a right to it. Right?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Everyone needs a therapist on hand like Shannon.
Everybody needs a Suzanne Boyd on hand.
Well, Shannon talked about my love of books, and so when we started this show, I said I really want to give people resources for the topics that we're talking about. And so today, some of our resources, and this book was actually given to me by my friend Jenna, who is here. And this book, honestly, changed my life. It changed my life. It is one of those books, and it, you know, it's not, it's change me prayers, but it's not really religious. It's by Tasha Silver, and it talks about spiritual surrender. And what I love about this book, if you're not really a reader, is it's short little chapters with a change me prayer at the end. So if you are struggling, you just say this, like, change me prayer. And I'm telling you, it's such a great book. I gave it to Shannon, and she loved it too. But it is such a good book if you are struggling. Change Me Prayers by Tasha Silver. Go get it. Get it on Amazon today. And the other one that this is like an oldie but a goodie, Melody Beatty.
Can't go wrong with Melody.
This is The Language of Letting Go, which is meditation. This is another one that's short. It's not a full book. It's just daily meditations that if you're struggling, you know, what I love to do with these kind of books is instead of going with an actual date, because it's dated, you know, July 29th or whatever, I just like to say, okay, dear Lord, give me the lesson I need today. And I just open it, and it's like Commitment.
Perfect.
Commitment.
That's not
Is that
me.
the lesson I need today? But yeah, that's what I love to do with my books,
Yeah.
especially the meditation books like that. And we also talked about Insight Timer. Yeah, like meditation apps.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
definitely apps. The language of letting go, just a little side note, my favorite expression is let go or be dragged. and that's from the 12-step program, and I've often been like face down behind a pickup truck on a gravel road just being dragged. So this is like a necessity for, just learning those tools and techniques of surrendering.
Right.
Right.
And this is one, both of them are one you can open. I have them at my bedside, and I open them often just like, in the
Randomly,
morning or at
sure.
night, and you just need something really quick.
Right.
Okay. The next segment is the fun segment.
It is.
So it's the best thing ever. So Shannon and I wanted to come up with this because I know like all my former producers are looking at me going, she says that all the time. It's the best thing. Everything is the best thing ever to Suzanne. So I really wanted to create a segment called The Best Thing Ever.
Yes.
It's something that we're loving right now, we're talking about, we're using.
Yes.
And so that is coming up next on What Your Friends Won't Tell You. We are live at ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton with a live studio audience today, and we'll be right back. Oh, yay! That's such a cool shot. All right, today's episode of What Your Friends Won't Tell You is brought to you by this stunning furniture store in Boca Raton. It is called ACP Home Interiors. It is where we are live today. And the first thing, our studio audience I know is going to agree with me on this, the first thing you notice when you walk into ACP Home Interiors is the smell. It is like, I wish there was smell-o-vision in television, because if you could smell how good it smells in here, and the owner, Stephanie, actually said that is the first thing people always say when they walk in here is that it smells so good. They have these candles that are just, they are the best candles I've ever used. They last forever. They have these amazing clean scents that aren't overpowering, but they are amazing, amazing gifts. So if you need a gift this holiday season, check out ACP Home Interiors. They have a location here in Boca Raton, also in Delray Beach. If you have friends or family in North Carolina, they're in Highlands, North Carolina, and they are in Atlanta, Georgia. And the owners, Stephanie and Bernard, are my neighbors, and they're the best neighbors ever.
Best neighbors ever.
And I love them. All right, so shop local this holiday season, okay? Thank you. All right, welcome back to ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton and What Your Friends Won't Tell You. We are live right now with our first on location episode 53 of What Your Friends Won't Tell You. And we are also have a studio audience today. So we have a lot of people who came to ACP today to watch our show live. And so we really appreciate all of our friends and family and fans of the show who came to watch ACP, or came to watch What Your Friends Won't Tell You today. Okay, I'm trying to, what are you doing over there? Shannon's up to something over here. All right, we are now talking about the best thing ever. All right, so this, you know, every time we chat about this and we try to come up with something that, you know, sort of fits what we're talking about. And Shannon said, when we started talking about this, she said, how about the feel-good bag? All right, so Shannon, why don't you tell us what the feel-good bag is?
Okay, Suzanne.
She's not just a therapist, people.
So this feel-good bag is very special to me because myself, and one of my dear, dear friends who's here, Ashley Bennett, invented this a long time ago. We came together, it came from the idea of basically self-esteem building, and the idea came from a colleague of mine where we would put things in a bag, in like just a plastic bag. A client would be struggling with self-esteem or struggling with their philosophies of life, and we would say, well, put everything you've ever wanted to hear from your family when you were little, or things that you want to believe about yourself in the bag, pull them out every hour and read it to yourself. I am special, I am beautiful, I'm a good person, that kind of thing. And so when Ashley and I got together, it was such a transformative experience having that bag for both of us. We got together and we said, well, let's do this. Let's create it for others. So we came up with a feel-good bag, and we morphed it a little bit into kind of spiritual principles and the value system to retrain your brain, because your brain absorbs all the messages you tell it. So if you wake up and say, I'm going to have a horrible day, fascinatingly.
This is what I tell my kids all the time. Trace, are you listening?
Yes. This is the real deal. Your mother wasn't lying.
Right.
So
if you say you're ugly, then you
will feel ugly.
Because
the brain's a computer, it just absorbs the information and gives it back to you, right? So the feel-good bag has the original bag has 10 stones that are all stones that are talking to you about kind of different philosophies and different.
I love the bag. It's like this
majestic,
amazing
purple,
velvet,
soft. It feels nice.
Right.
And the goal is to reach in when you first get the bag. Reach in every day and pull out a stone every hour and read it to yourself. So, for example, trust the process of your life.
Oh,
perfect. I did not plan that. That's perfect for the segment. And read it to yourself every day. Another one, don't take it personally. It's not about you. God, I could use this 75 times a day.
Yeah, that's a good one. I always tell people that. Don't take it so personally.
It's so real. Yeah. It took me 30 years to realize that, right? Yeah. And my personal favorite that we've just added is you can let go now. Yeah. Right? So that you don't have to be dragged.
Yeah. So behind the pickup truck.
Yeah. So this is a great gift. And Ashley and I could tell many, many stories. As with anything that you create in a spiritual way, it turns out that way. So we have many stories of people that have gone through really dark times. My favorite story was someone who lost her son, and she had the feel-good bag on her counter in her bedroom closet, and she had lost him on like a Tuesday, and on Wednesday she walked in and on the floor was the stone, "You are not alone." Wow. And you know, it's just we have beautiful stories with this. So it's everything you need to hear when you need to hear it.
So I assume you have a website. You can buy it off the website, right?
Yes, feelgoodbag.com. Yes.
Feelgoodbag.com. How much is it?
Oh, $25.95, I think.
You don't even know.
I'm a very poor salesman. I'm not in charge of this.
Where is
Ashley's my partner. Suzanne's in charge of this. Ashley's in charge. I'm a therapist.
That's right. So, but luckily, they were able to get together enough feel-good bags, because I know it was that we came up with this last minute.
Yes.
So Ashley was able to get up enough feel-good bags that we've got one for everyone in the studio audience. We're like Oprah. You get a feel-good bag. You get a feel-good bag.
Where are the elves that run in? Where are the running elves?
We'll get that for next show. All right, and we like to also leave you guys with a mantra. And I remember when Shannon and I first started talking about mantras, and I was like, would roll my eyes like, mantras. Oh God, this is so woo-woo. But I really, I believe in them. I really believe in mantras and just repeating the same thing over and over again. Some of my mantras are my passwords for all my websites.
So listen carefully.
Right. I change them often, so you don't know my passwords. But you know, I mean, my passwords, I put them at the end of my journal, every single entry. You know, one of mine was Be Brave, and one of my girlfriends got me the Be Brave. It's in a frame that hangs in my bathroom. Yeah. And so I think if you can just incorporate it into your life, and a password is a really good way because you use it every day.
Right.
But it's a really good way to kind of remind yourself of what you are, you know,
where you're going, what your goals are, what you want to believe about yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
So today's mantra, which has to do with the topic of struggle and letting go, is
everything happens perfectly in this moment, and trust the process.
Yeah, so trust the process. That is really hard to do sometimes. But if we can all just trust the process, I think, you know.
Without adding that fun word at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, just totally trust the
blank process.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and the other thing that we have are some Barry Manilow tickets. That'll let you let go, right? Okay, so thank you to my boyfriend, Stephen Panullo, who got the tickets for us.
Get me more tickets.
Yeah. So Barry Manilow is coming in concert to the American Airlines Arena next Thursday.
Wow.
And I put it on our social media channels that if whoever signs up on our mailing list, whoever's on a mailing list, we're going to choose someone at random for the Barry Manilow seats. And they are good seats. They're lower level, section 112 at American Airlines Arena, and they're free to one person. And our winner today is Rhonda Malazzo. So congratulations, Rhonda. Yeah, I don't think Rhonda's not here, but we will get you your tickets, Rhonda. I'll email you because you were on our email list. So thank you very much, Rhonda. We really appreciate it. All right, and if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, you can, of course, leave a comment or hit us up on any of our social media channels. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Also, like our Facebook page. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're pretty much everywhere. We're on a podcast. So if you want to just listen to us, just search What Your Friends Won't Tell You on iTunes. And thank you again to ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton for sponsoring our first on-location live episode of What Your Friends Won't Tell You. And thank you to all of our studio audience for coming today. We really appreciate it. And
our friends and family support that are here.
Thank you so much, everyone. And we're going to try to do this weekly, maybe not an on-location one because it's a lot of work, but we're definitely
hopefully an on-location one.
Hopefully,
If
you're interested in What Your Friends Will Tell You coming to your business, just email me. My email is all over there, or you can hit us up on any of our social media channels. All right, thank you guys. Thank you for supporting What Your Friends Won't Tell You. Bye. Thank you guys. All right, so we're still up on live stream. If you guys have any questions or want to know anything, this isn't a therapy session. I'm saying that for Shannon. Yeah.
There are couches here. It looks like a therapy office. Right. Don't be tricked.
If you do have something you want to ask Shannon, I mean, anyone want to ask a question? Anyone have? Yes. Okay, what's your name? You're Shannon's niece? Yeah. Okay. Hi, Shannon's niece.
Is this on TV?
So it's not on TV per se. It's on. It's all digital right now. Okay. So it's on our YouTube and Facebook channels. It was on our YouTube and Facebook channels live, and then it will live there. And we're also going to be putting it in some other places once we have the recording that Bruce recorded. But it was just live on Facebook and YouTube. But hopefully one day we'll be live on TV.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else? Stephanie, Bernard, what did you guys think? Thank you, Bernard.
You.
And Bernard doesn't give away compliments easily.
Oh, even when prompted?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us here. And what amazing host, the nicest person in the world. Stephanie's been so kind all day.
She was giving therapy to Shannon.
She was. And she's a nurse as well, so she was monitoring my blood sugar, like, have you eaten? She was taking care of me. Right. Lovely.
Yes, okay, Shannon's mom.
Oh, thank you, Mom. You just had to make me cry in front of people. You couldn't.
When you walked in, she started crying. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Thank you, Mom, for everything.
Oh gosh, that's a great question. So Shannon and I, just so you know how this started, Shannon and I really wanted to do something to put out good content. Like I've been putting out, bad news for so long, or had been.
Yeah.
And it was really starting to get to me. And so she and I decided we wanted to start doing something to put out good content. And it started with, really weird. We were like going out on the street and like talking to people and videotaping it. And I was like, I don't think this is going to work.
We're at Pear and Starbucks where we got our start.
And I was like, this isn't really what we're looking for. And then we decided to do a podcast, but I was like, I'm TV, like we should just go on camera. So we started the Facebook page, but we did some brainstorming to come up with names, and I wish I had that notepad here that you would see all the names that we came up. We just started throwing out names.
Yeah.
And
this one stuck.
When I think you came up with What Your Friends Won't Tell You, when she said that, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Because it felt just... because she has told me so many things
that her friends wouldn't tell her.
That my friends wouldn't tell me. I mean, she's super honest, but not only that, but she has a way of giving you advice and giving you tools to kind of deal with life's challenges in a way that you haven't heard before. And I think that's what I love. And she has really good examples, like leaning into, like today's was about leaning into the struggle and how do you do that, and she's like, well, you don't do it with wine. I didn't like that answer.
I know. I am a bearer of bad news.
Because all my girlfriends will be like, drink wine. Yeah. It'll make you feel better.
Yeah, but amazing things happen, in all fairness, when you drink wine with your friends. You create inventions and it's good stuff.
Then you cry even harder.
Yes, true. And don't make sense when you're crying, so that's not good.
Anyone else?
Any other questions? Comments?
How'd you guys meet?
I don't even know. Through a friend. I think through a mutual friend.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Now how'd you guys meet?
through a mutual
I'll tell you
friend.
off the record later.
Yeah. Through a mutual friend, Heather.
Yes,
yeah.
I like that. That's a good answer.
And 2.5 years on Channel 12.
Yeah, so Shannon also, it's funny, so Mike McCormick, who was our news director at CBS 12, wanted me to do a piece on, so this was right when the 50 Shades of Grey movies were coming out.
Yes.
And he wanted me to do a piece on like the whole topic of sex and why women were so drawn to these books and these movies. And so but he wanted it to be like sort of an investigative piece, not investigative, but the something
psychological underpinnings, right? The
so like more of a serious special report,
right?
And so I called up Shannon, and because I knew that she was an amazing therapist, and said, can you talk about this on camera? And we did probably a 30-minute interview.
Yeah. Well, we did six segments on all the different parts of it, like the codependency and if you fall in love with an amazing or a person who's damaged, can you fix them? Can you change them? Like all the different aspects of it. Yeah, and it went well.
The thing that really was amazing that people died when she said this was that women are like crock pots. And men are like microwaves.
Men are microwaves and women are crock pots. You have
like
to
women,
simmer us all day.
All day.
Yeah.
And the men, know, they're like ready to go. Yeah, just hit a button. It's like, So, I mean, she said that, and we were like, and everyone like, she was amazing. I was like, oh my God, I was like, that is a great way to describe it, you know? And so after that, I said she should have her own segment on CBS 12. You know, she's amazing. And so we started Ask Shannon, so people would write in and ask a question.
No one ever wrote in once in 2.5 years. That never happened.
It's true.
We generated the questions ourselves.
Derek,
people in the studio.
Know, right?
Yeah, I'm like, guys, help me out. They're like, oh, I got a problem.
Right.
Put that on there. Right. Yeah, that never happened. I think I left the segment because I was burnt out on coming up with questions.
And it's hard to solve someone's life challenge in 2 minutes, which, you know, TV, you get a 2-minute segment, and that was it. And that was another reason we wanted to start this, is because we just felt like she had a lot more to say.
Yeah, I can't talk that small.
That's right. Hey. Anyone else? Aww. Oh, thanks, Karen.
So much, Karen.
You're going to make me cry.
What is your goal for 2019 for your show?
Oh, do you want to tell them our goal?
What
$1 million in sales?
in sales.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's the first thing that I say, and I'm timid to say it because that is not where Suzanne and I traditionally have ever come from. This was designed because we wanted to help people. Suzanne was desperate to do it differently, and she's just amazing, beautiful, kind, smart. So she wanted to make an influence in the world. I felt so blessed that I was making an influence, but on my couch, one person at a time. And so we wanted to do it big. So that's always been where we come from. Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to say we just told you about how grateful we are, right? So, oh, a $2 raise, I'm so grateful. We've always been so grateful. I'm at 47, I'm like, no, fill the barn. Like abundance is also a thing.
Right,
so we want to help people. We want to make a difference. We want to get the word out there. And we'd also like to be able to feed ourselves.
Yeah.
So in a more abundant way, and feed others in a more abundant way, like give back, right? To give back, to donate, to you know, make a difference.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I'd really like this to be able to support me,
Yes.
you know, because when I left my job, and it was, you know, scary, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do that at the beginning of the year, and then I said, you know what, I'm just going to take a leap of faith, and I just know that this is going to work out. I just know it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's people like we started when I said, you know, up until now, we've been paying for it ourselves. So it costs money to produce. It costs money to, you know, it costs our time, and to have the website and all that. I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, but it comes out of both of our pockets. And so the next step we said was, we're going to get it sponsored. We're going to get it paid for. And so Stephanie and Bernard were awesome to be our first sponsors of the show.
Yes.
And so right now we're getting it paid for, and then the next step is to then take it to the next level.
But you know what's interesting, and I want to say this for everybody to hear, because I think that when people embark on processes like this, they really feel like they have to have a plan. And I know at one point I confronted Suzanne after about a year. I go, we're not talking about this anymore.
Right.
We're not planning it anymore.
Right.
We're going to do it, because that's how we are.
Yeah.
People believe you have to have a plan. And what I want to tell you is we are living proof. We've just been rolling through
with the
this.
punches.
And this was like an idea that she said off the cuff, we should do it live somewhere. And 3 hours later, she called me and said, Stephanie reached out to me and wants to do it live. So-and-so reached out to me, and I'm like, okay. And within the past week, I'm like, wait a minute. This might be what we do, is go all over the country, the state of Florida, and do this. This might even be the thing. So you never know where you're going to land, and if you can trust the process, not overplan, not control it, just where it goes is amazing. So who knows where this lands.
And stay true to who you are. I mean, I think for us, you know, for me, it's all about authenticity and really feeling like, you know, for me, this was a natural place for us to be, because I love them, and they are kind people, and their stuff is beautiful, and this is a natural place for us to be. And, you know, I have always been a huge fan of local. Like, I talk about Delray Beach all the time because I live in Delray Beach and it's my city, and I think it's the best place in the whole wide world. And I used to talk about it on TV all the time.
Right.
And so I have a lot of businesses that I support in Delray Beach, you know, that feel authentic to me.
Right.
And so I think, you know, that's sort of where we were going too. It's also about supporting the people that, you know, that I want to support, the local businesses that really, you know, are struggling against the Amazons and the big box stores. And I think, you know, we have something that we can bring them a lot of exposure. You know, I'm love social media, as you all know, and so, you know, Shannon just got a Facebook page.
I do not speak social media.
So I think that was sort of a natural thing for me to say, let's bring these businesses huge exposure, and in turn, let's, you know, get our show paid for. Yeah. And so that's kind of where we are right now.
And give Suzanne a job.
And give Suzanne a job, yes. Because, you know, this 3 months off is really going well. Just rest and relaxation. Yeah, I talked about this before, but it's funny how, you know, I said I wanted to just, you know, do yoga and sit on the beach. And, like, I literally have been working harder. And I realized, you know, Suzanne, you're a busy, crazy person. And it's not because of your schedule or your job or any outside circumstances. It's because of you. Yes. You know, and so you can either be okay with that, or you can say, I'm going to take some time off and really, you know, not do anything for a few weeks.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's not really working so well.
What a great role model, not just for women, but for everyone, to say that, you know, here's two examples that had passion and felt the deep in their heart, and they went for it, and you can do it.
Yeah.
You take the risk,
you know,
and you do it.
it's so true. And like these guys that you see back here, Gene used to work at CBS 12, the guy with the camera here, or the phone, which is the camera. You know, Gene was a CBS 12er for many years. He worked in our commercial production, so I knew Gene. Bruce was one of my longtime directors. He was at CBS 12 when I started, right? Or no? He was the Chiron operator at CBS 12, which is the person that pops up graphics. Then he became a director. Just so you know, Bruce Jaggers, who left the business, a few months ago? Over a year ago, built this entire system in his house. And when he knew I had left CBS 12, he said, I want you to come over and take a look at this. And I saw what he has basically created, a control room, a TV studio control room in his house that he can take anywhere. Wow. So he can go live, punch up different cameras, punch up graphics. Like this, what he's done is amazing. And I don't know if anyone knows like how amazing it is, Bruce. I don't even know if Bruce knows how amazing it is. But when I saw it, I was like, holy crap, this is what we need for What Your Friends Won't Tell You. And I said, you know, can we hire you to come do our shows? And so it's like, you know, Shannon always talks about helpers, and people will come into your life when they're supposed to, and it's about your job to recognize it. And I have to tell you, like, just having the people that popped up right after I left and how this has kind of evolved, you know, it's just, I haven't really had to do a lot of going after. Really, a lot of it came to me because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew the intention that I was putting out, and really just people started to come to me. So that's how it works. I really believe that's how it works, you know? Yeah. We're trusting the process. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. 3 years ago, I think, actually. So that's the other part. Be patient. Yeah, it's been 3 years for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Sam, Lauren? You guys are amazing. I mean, Sam is a perfect example of someone who trusted the process, and now she's like the main traffic reporter, you know, anchor in the morning. Lauren's the same way. Lauren's the meteorologist in the morning. I mean, you know, they're amazing. They're amazing at what they do. And, you know, they had to be a little bit patient and to get what they wanted. But now they're you know.
You got to do the grunt work.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being
Thank you,
here and for the
guys.
love and support. We can feel the love and support, and it's really
thank you,
amazing.
guys.
Thank you
Thank
to
you
my
so much.
husband as well, who's here,
thank
who's
you,
shy
Brian.
and off in the corner.
Okay, Brian, get out the credit card.
Get out the credit card for shopping.
Yeah. Hey, Auntie. I'm seeing everyone now. All right. Thanks, guys. I guess we're done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.